Hello, up one on to it. Now, this is a bit of a different workshop project. What I have here is a 3D print locomotive. And like in a lot of TV shows you see, here's one I made earlier. This one is a cursor to tram style locomotive. I think it looks quite nice. And it runs pretty good considering it uses a Kato chassis, which with the cordless motor and all that makes it run smooth silk. This kit, on the other hand, is different. There's the chassis, same chassis as this one. Little firebox piece, handrail detail in the main body. Now this, if you can't tell by the styling of it, it's a Quarry Hunslet. This one I had to do a little work on though, to get it to the state it is now. This little bit here on the front, don't know how a little piece of it broke off, so I've made a little patch piece. It looks okay, serves its job, that's the main thing. Now, one of the other things I did, purely for running reasons, is I milled a nice slot in there, right into the tank, the thing. It was very nasty work milling a slot in because stuff went everywhere. But basically, I grabbed a hunk of lead and stuffed it in there. Glued into place too, just to secure it. It was a friction fit, but the glue helps. Now, what I'm going to do with this is simple. I'm going to build it up to make it a running, working model. Now, I'm going to take this back to, well, my base layout / workshop, and I'm going to prep it for paint. It's alright as it is, but a little light sanding and a bit of masking is needed, I'll admit. And when I say a bit, I mean a bloody lot. And I just realized I had the cab on backwards. Oh dear. It's supposed to fit on like that. There we go. That looks more ideal, didn't it? Huh. More snug too. So, let's get this prepped for paint.
Okay, now what I'm starting to do here is just make sure it all fits together nicely before thinking of priming, or even thinking of adding the masking. The masking I'm using is actually made by Humbrol. It's Maskol. It's a liquid masking agent, which is brilliant, especially if you're working with very odd shapes. Once dry, it's easy to peel off. Mind you, it's like ripping off a plaster at some points, which is annoying as heck. But needless to say, it's a really, really, really good item in my paints and pots tool bag, which is good fun. Alright, now I'm going to be alright melon here. Yeah, I can see the camera, you twit, but here's where I'm alright. Real silly, fall right in the woodshed. Getting my head in the way. What a fool I am. What I'm doing there is spraying on the primer. The spray can I'm using for both colors is Rust-Oleum. One's a proper primer color, the other's it's a cocoa brown, I think it is. I'm using a nice flat grey primer spray for this lot, making sure the spray works. The thing is though, annoyingly it's really hard to get good primer spray these days, which is annoying. And the fact I was getting a lot of backdraft did not help as well, and I think I may have just got the tomato plant in the background. Oh dear. I can laugh at my own mistakes. Alright, I'm making sure I get the insides of the frames and the body. And I'm trying out these new gator clip painting sticks as well. Usually I just plump them on a piece of paper or something like that and spray them, wait till it dries, flip it, and spray it again. So for me this was a bit of a learning curve. Don't know if it worked or not. Oh, now I'm just spraying the... What a fool. Okay, now for demasking, quick assembly, and painting. The paint I'm using, I think here, was an acrylic. No, this is enamel gunmetal I'm using. It's a go-to for when I'm after metal-like finishes on any paintwork I'm doing. The thing is, though, for enamel paint, it's weird. It dries really quick, which is very weird because it dries about as fast as acrylic paint does. Yet enamel usually tends to be a pain in the butt. And what's also annoying with this particular paint is if you don't do it right, it can actually rub off as you handle it. So, oh dear. Not very ideal. And I'm happily taking the mickey out of myself when I do mock-ups. And if you see in the background near that jar, I actually have a cheat sheet for my colors. Thankfully, Humbrol actually do a downloadable color chart for all the enamel and acrylic ranges. Thank heaven for that. Otherwise, I would be lost. Now, let's get into a more interesting part here. And this is later in the day, as you can tell by the shading and all that. Because, yes, I got the frames done. But this part is actually earlier on, now that I think of it. Because I started with the body first, then I worked onto the chassis. And right now, yeah, I'm using a Pullman cream for the inside of the cab. I've no idea why I started with the inside of the cab first. Probably to get it out the way because it would be the most annoying. I can't exactly remember. But it was a good process, about 3 or 4 thin coats. And it went on nicely, very nicely. The only really annoying bit was painting the cab interior, which I think comes into later in this clip. I can't remember. Because for the cab interiors, I used a good range of colors. Red for the rod, the control levers and that. White for the gauges. Of course, a nice brass brass enamel paint for the brightwork and that, which weirdly is inside the cab. You'd think safety valves and whistles would be outside. Not with this kit. And, well, for the body, I used I can't remember the number, but it was an acrylic paint that was actually simply listed as Garter Blue. So I just called it A4 Blue. And, yeah, trouble when doing voiceover work when you have your phone data on. You do get notifications. Oops. I know this is going to go into the final cut, so this is going to stay. Right, now, I think I've done enough dithering on. For the last minute or so, I think I'll just add some music and let you enjoy the rest of the film.
quite smart looking, ain't it? Oh. Well, that's the voiceover bit over, I suppose, so get this out of the way. Yeah, that's perfect. As for the Hunslet, guess that bit of round steel needs cleaning. But here we go. As for this Hunslet kit, it is a fantastic piece of work actually. It is good fun. It's a good challenge, I'll say that much. And it is cheap and cheerful modelling. It really is. The only expensive bit's the chassis, really. It is a great model. I'm proud of how it came out with. The handrails, I'll do that off camera because it'll probably be so fiddly. But to the guy who designed it, it is a little overscale, yes. But 1mm thick plastic for fitting in the cab, that's just cruel. That's cruel. At least with the Cursed Steward tattoo, it was a lot easier because I had a lot more to work with. This though, oh boy. That's downsizing from overscale to something more realistic. Yes, I had to do the odd repair job and bodge work for sanity's sake, but I'm very happy with how this turned out. Maybe later on I'll add lining to this, maybe a nameplate or a number plate, who knows. I'm just really happy with how this turned out. And just for you kind viewers who are actually taking the time to watch this, at the end of this video, I can't believe I'm even going to be doing this, at the end of this video will be the bodged up version of this ending. I'm having to reshoot this because of someone's very poor camera work. And for once it wasn't me. The guy knows I take the joke, well, I'm taking the mickey out of him purely as a friend, and it's a no harm joke. And yeah, the reason I'm shooting it here instead of at the brilliant setting I had at the model club, simply this day after filming that bad piece, I contracted COVID-19. I'm on the rebound, so I just gotta wait another 5 days at least and take a test. If it comes up negative, sweet. If it comes up positive, wait a little longer. It blows, but it is what it is. Simple as that. And to those of whom who think they got the bug off me, I can only humbly apologize because I did not know I even had it until a couple of days ago. At the time I'm filming this, a couple of days ago, so that's my bad, people. Sorry. Oh well. I'm mucking around a bit too much, so until next time, this is Up One Odd saying take care, keep safe, and please enjoy this blooper piece where I struggle to keep a straight face.
Well, it's pissing like mad outside, and thanks to the assistance of one of the fellow club members, for once I have a cameraman, and someone's trying to video bomb, typical club night. But basically the Hunslet kit, it is great, it's a nice challenge, it really is. And all I can say to anyone who gets one is take your time painting. I kind of rushed it. I did this in about 3 or 4 days, 5 tops. And I've still yet to add the handrails, but it is a brilliant kit. And for those of you who are into cheap and cheerful modeling, it is just a simple cheap 3D print kit. The only expensive piece is the chassis. Apart from that, brilliant. All I can say is to the guy who designed it, it is a little overscale, true, but 1mm thick plastic for attaching the interior to the rest of the cab. You right devil. Alright. This is about more or less the max load it can haul. Hunslets were never really that powerful. Quarry Hunslets, I might want to add, before anyone comments. And this is a bit rushed, I'll admit, but this is up well and onwards, saying to you, thank you very much for watching. Someone at the door. At night.